I don't understand. I was told that getting lean wasn't supposed to be that hard. If that's the thought looping in your head right now, this video is for you. It's been months. You've tried eating in a deficit, you're going to the gym more or less consistently, you switch to healthy food, and you still can't seem to get rid of that fat. Trust me, I know exactly how frustrating it is, because I lived it. I've been skinny fat, I've been borderline anorexic, I've been fat, like I've been through all the stages. It was years of training hard with the wrong information, getting nowhere. But today I'm where I want to be because I finally figured out what I was doing wrong. And that's why in this video I want to shoot these 7 exact things I stopped doing that finally got me lean. And I promise you, you're doing at least 3 of them. And if you don't fix this, you can eat clean, train consistently, and still look the same in a year from now. So you better be listening. Some of these are obvious, a few of them are going to surprise you, and one of them is probably the exact reason you've been stuck for months without knowing it. First one is drinking too many calories. Milkshake, Starbucks drinks, sodas, fruit juice, alcohol, the sugar and the syrup in your coffee, and even the healthy smoothies. You don't realize this, but they're usually calorie dense. And the thing is, liquid calories don't make you full. You can eat 600 calories in a sitting and still be hungry in an hour from now. And your brain won't even register the fact that you ate a full meal. All of the beverage I talked about, they can easily add thousands of calories to your weekly caloric average. That's a freaking monster. And the worst part, I'm sure you don't even count them. It's just a drink, you know. So what to do instead? I mean, stop buying these things. First of all, you'll spend way less money. Second of all, it will be easier to get lean. So drink more water, always have a bottle with you. Black coffee, tea, whatever you like, but things that are not calorie. For alcohol, you don't have necessarily to quit, but pick one night, set a limit of 2 drinks, and that's it. The rule is simple. If it has calories, it counts. The second thing is tied to that first thing, and it is you have no idea of how much you are actually eating. And this is truly killing your progress, because you've switched to clean eating, which is a great first step. Things like avocado, nuts, olive oil, granola, smoothies, etc., stuff like that. And you genuinely think you're doing everything right. I mean, that's a great first step, because if you cut the crap out of your life, then you'll feel better in terms of hormonal health, etc. But it doesn't mean weight loss. It doesn't mean fat loss. Eating healthy and losing fat are 2 completely different things. Even though eating healthy will make it kinda easier, but doesn't match. Like a handful of almonds is 300 calories, 2 tablespoons of peanut butter is 200 calories, avocado 300, tablespoon of olive oil 120. See, it's quite caloric as well. So if you're never tracking anything, if you're never counting anything, you can be surprised that you are not losing fat, losing weight. You are actually not in a caloric deficit, which is the only thing you gotta do to lose that fat. The thing you need to understand is that your body doesn't care if your food is clean. For fat loss, it only cares about the calories in and the calories out. Research shows people underestimate their calorie intake by 30 to 50%. You think you're eating 2000, you're actually eating 2600. And that gap between what you believe and what's actually happening is exactly why you feel like you're doing everything right and still not losing that fat. And on top of that, if you're not tracking, it probably means that your protein are too low as well. Because if you're not tracking, how would you know? And low protein means you're hungry all day, losing muscle alongside fat. That's why sometimes you could be losing weight, but you feel like your body is not changing or it's even getting worse. That's because you're losing muscle. So you're making it 10 times harder than it should be. So what to do? Start by tracking everything for 2 weeks and see how crazy the number you think you were eating and what you're actually eating differs. If you don't want to continue, then stop it, but at least you'll have a good baseline of what you're eating on a daily basis. For protein, the target is simple: 1 gram per pound of body weight or 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. But if you want to learn to do that in more detail, I have a video explaining exactly how to do that. Simple breakdown, go watch it. The third thing won't speak to every one of you, but this is starving yourself. Because a lot of people think that in order to lose fat, there is a common belief that you should eat only salad, you should eat only things that you ate, actually, not eating that much. But that's not how it is. That's exactly how I ended up almost like borderline anorexic. 55 kilograms, 175 centimeters. That was bad. And that's kind of tricky because at first, during the first few weeks, you see your weight moving down quickly because, I mean, it works, you're starving yourself. But at some point, your body will adapt and it will go in survival mode. So it will kind of ruin your hormonal balance and it will do everything to store fat. Everything you'll eat, it will try to store it as fat because it's in survival. Like, why the food is not coming anymore? Where is it? Oh, there's an apple, fat. That's how it works. So never do that. A sustainable deficit should be around 300 to 500 calories maximum. Yes, you lose weight a bit slower, but you lose fat faster, you preserve muscle, and you don't blow up your relationship with food in the process. The goal is the smallest deficit that produces consistent results, not the largest one you can survive for 2 weeks. Going slow is what works and will make it sustainable. The fourth thing is the biggest disease of the 21st century, being sedentary all day. You allow yourself to be sedentary because you ran today or you went to the gym, so I can chill now. I have work work to do, so I won't go on a walk, I won't move, I won't do anything really. I will even order Uber Eats tonight because I worked out today. What you don't realize is that needs. Basically all the movement outside of the gym, like walking, standing, can account for 1,000 calories burned throughout the day. And this is way more than exercising, going to the gym or going for a run. This is where you burn the most amount of calories. 1 hour of training does not compensate for 15 hours of stillness. So if you're sedentary right now, you need one thing: a daily step target. My recommendation would be 10,000 steps minimum. But I mean, obviously, if right now you're walking only 2,000 steps a day, then go to 5,000. Then 7,000, then 8,000. Build it step by step. This will make your life way easier in terms of fat loss. This will clear your mind, like between work sessions. You can even walk during your meeting. You can walk after meals. This is the best way to implement walking as a habit, by the way. Walking after your meals. Even if you train the metro or the bus, you can just get off one station away and walk there. You can park further away to have like even 1,000 steps more a day. It's already good. Your daily movement baseline matters just as much for fat loss as what happens inside the gym. Walk more. The 5th thing is doing too much cardio and not enough of resistance training. So gym, calisthenics. The thing is that it's not even your fault. The common belief is that you need to run, you need to do heat to burn that fat. But usually what ends up happening is that, yes, you'll lose weight. Yeah, you kinda lose fat, but you'll also lose a lot of muscle as well. Because if you want to preserve your muscle, if you want an aesthetic physique, if you want to look lean like the people you look up to, you need to do resistance training, going to the gym, doing calisthenics. Because first, that's what builds muscle, but this is also what preserves this muscle while being in a deficit. If you're in a deficit and always doing cardio, you're going to lose these muscles. And don't get me wrong, you can still do cardio while in a deficit. It will actually help you out, but you do not need to do that every day. It should be an addition to your gym/calisthenics sessions. And hell, if you're doing your 10K step per day, you don't even need to go on the run, to go on cycling or whatever. Low intensity cardio like walking really does its job. So make resistance training your foundation. 3 to 4 sessions per week, focused on building and preserving muscle. The goal isn't just to have like this weight go down on your scale. The goal is to look leaner, more athletic, with more muscle. And that requires building something in the gym, not just burning calories. 6 is one of the biggest one as well, because I fall for that a lot of the time when I used to not be in my fitness journey. Straight up eating snacks, eating whatever that's in the fridge, only because you're bored and you have nothing to do. You know. And you know that I know. Yeah. Like you have poor sleep. On top of that, your job is mentally demanding. You have commute to do, like in the car, in public transportation. And so when you go back home, sometimes you don't even know what to do. You skip the gym. Yes, so why not just go in the kitchen and eat some cheese, some chocolate, ice cream, whatever there is. Because these things, like, they give quick dopamine hits. And when you don't know what to do, you're kind of lost. Or even sometimes you know what to do, but it's kind of a hard task, and eating is easy to do compared to that. So you rush to it just to get that dopamine hit, and you just ate at least 500 calories. And this one is kind of harder to solve, kind of trickier in a sense. But first of all, we need to be aware of these moments. For me, usually it happened at the mid and afternoon or in the evening. And one thing I used to do is when this urge just popped out into my head is that whether I went on a walk or I drank a coffee without much caffeine, decaffeinated, or another thing is when you have this urge, you just put a 15 or 20 minute timer on your phone, and if you're still hungry at the end of that time, then go for it. But usually what happens is that, well, you'll be more aware and you'll realize that you're actually not hungry. 7th point is the reward trap. I deserve it. You eat well Monday to Friday, maybe a 300 calorie deficit, 2,000 calories saved across the week. Then Saturday arrives and you've earned it. Big breakfast, some burgers, some fries, maybe the next day you go for a pizza. You've just consumed 4,000 to 5,000 calories in a sitting. No, not maybe in a sitting, but in a day. And maybe you do that Saturday and Sunday. And you haven't just destroyed your deficit. You even created a surplus. The result, 0 fat loss for the entire week, and sometimes a big step backward because you gain even more fat. And for some people, it used to be me, it's not just on the weekend, it's after like a big gym session. Oh, I trained today, so I deserve a big burger. I deserve a big pizza. Like, come on. In your gym session, you probably burn 300 calories. The burger that you want is 1,000 calories. Both of these things, like your cheat days, your cheat meals after your sessions, they're destroying your progress. But hear me out, if you're doing the second step that we talked about, tracking your calories for 2 weeks, if you go for a burger and it fits your total caloric intake with your protein, etc., go for it. It's fine with me as long as you hit your macros and your total calorie. But don't overdo it, because if you're taking out, usually you won't be able to count really precisely what you eat. So go for it once a week. It could be your cheat day, but while tracking and being aware of what you eat. And if you're struggling with the I need the reward after my training, then go for a coffee, go for a walk, listening to your favorite podcast, a show that you want to watch, something like that, but make it non-food. If you need to get a cheat day, a cheat meal in your week, it usually means there's a problem, because it means you don't like your diet. And that's a huge problem. I love what I eat on a daily basis, so I don't need a cheat day. I just eat whatever I want, whenever I want. They're usually healthy stuff, and I just love everything. So, because the goal is to build a way of eating you actually enjoy. The only diet that works long term is the one you don't need to escape from. So you'll need a small time of adaptation to really like simpler things. I get it. But the main goal is to love what you eat, because the only way you'll be able to stay consistent for years until you die is one word: sustainability. That's the seventh thing. There's one more I need to mention, because it's probably the most important one of all. And it's not going to the gym because you're not motivated. And this is the one I wasted the most time on. Not going because I didn't feel like it, or going but with zero structure, zero plan, just showing up and doing whatever in the gym. When I was doing an internship in Bucharest, I was going to the gym 5 or 6 times a week, high volume, lots of effort, felt like I was doing everything right. I gained 10 kilos. Not muscle, fat. And I was eating healthy as well, because I had no plan, no calorie awareness, no structure around any of it. I told myself that showing up was enough. It's not. Showing up without a clear plan is just controlled chaos. Today I balance a 9 to 5, still going to school, writing my thesis for my master's degree, recording content, and coaching my fitness clients. I have less time than I ever had, and I'm in the best shape of my life. See that shoulder? Because everything is scheduled. Everything. Training slot locked like meetings. My meals are planned or prepped. I try to remove friction from my life as much as possible, because as you understand, I'm quite busy, so I got a lot of everything to juggle between. If every time I sit down at my desk, if every time I go to the kitchen, if every time I go to the gym, I have to think about what to do, it would be a total mess. And that's probably what you're living right now. If you had more structure, if you had a clear plan of what to do in the gym, when to go to the gym, what to eat, when to eat it, etc., it would be 10 times easier. So here's what I want you to do this week. Open your calendar, pick 3 to 4 days, lock in your training sessions like you would a meeting with your boss, non-negotiable, already decided, no discussion when the time comes. Like, don't optimize your program yet, just know which muscle you're going to target and can I do the exercises, but right now you just need to build that habit of going consistently. Consistency will beat perfection every single time. Thank you for staying to the end of this video. If you've watched this video this long, it means that you probably recognize yourself in more than 3 things in this, and that's not an accident. That's actually the gap between where you are right now and where you could be. I work with guys one-on-one to build the right plan, accountability, and the right structure to close that gap for good. So if you're serious about getting to your goals faster and taking it to the next level, you can just DM me the word change on Instagram and let's figure out how I can help you out. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.